Hi, my name is Alexandre Schimel. I am a researcher at the Geological Survey of Norway, and this is a re-recording of a presentation I first made at GeoHab conference in May 2024 on the topic of the latest things we've done at NGU in terms of research for the quality of the Multibeam Backscatter data for habitat mapping. It's going to be a two-part presentation. In the first part, I'm showing you the new features of Iscafe, which is a free and open source software that we built at NGU for the quality control of Multibeam Backscatter data. This is what Iscafe looks like. Piece of software in which you load your data and it shows you your Backscatter data, and then it can show you some potential issues with your data. So here, zooming a bit, for example, showing in yellow the specific soundings that the system flagged as bad, which we call bad soundings, and in red, the pings that our algorithm flagged as bad, which we call bad pings. And the system tells you the number and the percentage of those bad soundings and the bad pings for each file and through the entire dataset. The whole thing is very useful, but the problem is that you need to load your entire data in Iscafe. And Iscafe still has some limitation in terms of memory. So the idea is that what we created is a batch processing tool so that you can run the thing without having to load the data in memory in the system. And what the batch processing tool here creates is a CSV file where you have the number and percentage of bad pings and bad soundings for each of the file and overall. So this analysis allows you to quickly look at your files and see which one might be problematic. Another thing that Iscafe does is checking if parameters have changed during the acquisition of a dataset. So here's displaying a few lines with a set of settings that have changed at some point, and it's listing to you which settings have changed. Well, we have a new batch processing tool that does the same thing, where you basically give him a folder of data, and it's going to read each file in that folder. It's going to list the parameters for the first file, and then chronologically for each file is going to tell you if some settings have changed during this file. And at the end of this analysis, it creates a summary showing which parameters were constant through the whole dataset and which were variable, bringing your attention to potential changes of parameters that you did not want to have. In the second part, I'm talking about BS Meta. BS Meta is the metadata template that NGU has been developing for Backscatter mosaics. So one of the issues with Backscatter mosaics is the absence of information about what led to this mosaic. There's so much that goes into creating a mosaic, and there's very little information that comes with your mosaic, which can be a bit problematic, especially if we have lots of different variations of the same mosaic. A potential solution is to create metadata that always accompany the mosaic everywhere it goes. So here, for example, in the form of a JSON file with the exact same name as the mosaic. And what this text file in the JSON format contains is a really short summary of the information that went into creating this mosaic. We organized the templates in 6 sections. A section about the survey that produced the dataset, a section about the data that went to the mosaic, a section about the processing that was applied to create the mosaic, a section about the mosaic produced, a section about the quality control performed on this mosaic, and a small section at the end about this metadata template. I won't go into too much details, but just to show you that the idea is we try to keep it super simple and as short as possible so that the whole thing fits on one page. So here, for example, the survey section has some information such as the name of the project, the year of the survey, and the names of the clients, surveyors, sites, vessel, and sonar models. Of course, there's lots of other information that you might want to capture in this, but we have a free text field as comments where you can write any information that is not captured in what we thought was the most crucial information in this section. For example, the section on data shows some additional information that could have been contained in the survey section, but the reason why it's separated is the idea is that you might have been acquiring data during a survey for different purpose, and not all of the data you acquire during a survey goes into a mosaic. So here this section would be really about these specific things about the data that went into the mosaic, such as a list of the raw data files or the different modes that were used for the data that went into this mosaic. Jumping over the processing section, we come to the mosaic section, which has information about the mosaic that was produced, such as the pixel size and the projection, the person who created the mosaic. The section about quality control is relatively short. Most importantly, it has the name and the date, the name of the person who did the quality control and the date, and a quality grade that we use at NGU for a 5-point grading scale that we developed to subjectively assess the quality of the backscatter mosaic. And finally, you have a template, a section at the end with information about these templates, which is most useful to control the version of the template as we develop it or improve it or streamline it. Coming back to the processing section, the problem with processing is it's completely dependent on the processing software you're using and on the version of that software you're using. And instead of trying to find generic values that would apply to all, what we found best is to adapt this section to the processing software and the version that you're using. So we basically create some sort of sub-template just for the processing section, and we keep track of this. So for example, here showing what we keep track when we process data using FMGT. We are moved on to FMGT version 7.11 at this stage, but the name of this template is still 7.10.3 because we developed it for that version and it's still valid for us. But the idea is if we use different versions with different parameters named different software, we can adapt these sub-templates to what we're doing so that this template just captures the parameters which are most crucial for us to keep track of when we make several mosaics. And that's it. Here are the links for you to get more information or to download the Iscafé on the left, and the one with more information about the template for backscatter metadata. Thank you for your attention.